Welcome back to Firestone Forge. Today we're at a medieval event down in Spokane making iron. Stick around. This is a little explanation going on here, smelting iron. They've used charcoal to start it out. You don't necessarily need coal to make a bloom. They also show about the construction, smelting, a little bit of historical picturing and documentation. As well as about the bloom itself. Now, when you condense iron ore, it becomes the bloom. This is the fire pit used for making charcoal. Just throw in a bunch of wood, light it on fire, and when it's done, it's charcoal. Double sifter system. Remove the large chunks so that way you can break them up. Then remove the very small pieces. And then you have a smaller grate on the bottom one. We haven't begun to start the bloom yet. This is just curing the furnace. Fire brick surrounded by clay and straw. I believe they call that a cob. I could be wrong though. The air is poured in through a ceramic pipe going into the furnace. It's being fed by air hose. It's being fed by air hose to a control box. By sliding this here, it allows you to open up more or less oxygen flow. And back in the day, they used to use bellows. We have a little bit of a better technology, so we've got a fan blower going. Forrest is the furnace master, bloom maker guy.
So we've been preheating this for a couple hours with wood and a little bit of charcoal. Gotten up, the walls are pretty hot now. So I'm going to fill this with the charcoal we've screened, a fairly uniform size. Give it about a half hour for this to come up to temperature, and then we'll start adding the iron ore. Cob is a building material made out of clay, straw, and sand, used for construction, even of buildings in some places, although you have to make sure you do it right if it's going to be load-bearing. For something like a smelter, it's great because it's low-tech, it's easy to do, it's got a good insulation value, and it doesn't melt. So we just have some buckets of clay that I dug locally, and some buckets of sand, and some straw. And we just mix these together. I don't recall the exact proportions, but you basically want enough sand that when you squeeze it, you can hear the grains squeak together, so that the grains are almost touching, and then the clay is around that. And then enough straw to just sort of hold it together, so it's hard to rip off a handful of it. And the cob ends up looking more or less like this. This is stuff that's dried out a little bit, but it gives you the basic idea. And once you've got it mixed together, you can mold it like clay and make furnaces and kilns and pretty much whatever you want with it. Okay, so this is the iron ore we're using. It's a powdered magnetite and iron oxide. And we've got this cut measured at the 1 pound mark. So this is the first edition, so I'm only going to use a ½ pound. And we'll add this to the furnace and then cover it with charcoal.
Now, if memory serves, by the end of the day, we had somewhere around 34 to 36 pounds worth of iron put into the furnace. I'm not sure what the total weight of the bloom came out to be, but that's what the amount of iron we put in. Now, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but this basically can't work without meticulous notes, correct?
Oh, it works fine. You just may not be able to get it to work the next time.
Good point.
Oh, that was blowing just a little bit. Actually, this is
So the furnace had been running for a few hours, and Forrest decided it was time to see if we could get any slag out. He was stabbing it with that pick, and nothing came out. There was very little slag in the overall piece, which was very good. The gentleman with the orange hard hat is Michael. He's the one who owns the property, and he's the one who set up this bloom. Also, I'd like to point out that we have a water hose going, and the entire area has been sprayed down so it's moist, so that way nothing catches on fire. We also have a bucket of water ready to go.
There you go.
There's slag. Oh, there's a little slag dripping down.
Yep, start to get it.
Lava.
Coming through.
That sounds very good. Do you want me to slam it up from the top?
Yeah.
Grab that. I'll dig, you pull, you push.
There you go.
We have lava.
You have lava.
There it's coming through. There it is. There
There
it
it
is.
is.
Tip it out. Dump it out. Ready for it? Yep. Hey guys, get out of the way. I'm going to push it over. Okay, could you grab the one by my foot?
I think it needs hotter. Okay, grab it, put it in the forge.
Okay. Go ahead and set that piece aside.
I think this forge may be too small. And crank it hard.
Crank it hard. You guys ready with the tongue?
Just here. Okay.
The good boots are very expensive. And then it doesn't work. And the stories of why doesn't work are being
There we go. If you put it up on end. There you go.
Yeah, Michael went to.
He always stuck with period.
This is the one departure from the period on mine, and we did that for me because I got published.
I understand.
So right now the bloom is too large to do anything with, to heat it effectively, so we're cutting it with a top chisel. The excess pieces that we cut off are actually going to be moved off to the side to let cool to be worked at a later date. We're going to put one good chunk into the forge to get it really heated up and try and condense it down very well.
I'm not sure this is quite sparking, but it should be close. Oh, it's sparking at the corner.
back in. You guys enjoyed it. Everyone who watched, any
Glad you were here,
questions?
too.
You want to see anything up close?
I want to come look over
What happened to
this.
the rest of the
You're going to be able to get some iron.
Is that
Broken
it?
into pieces. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we've got
By the way,
pieces.
these are hot.
Very hot, especially the one that's still glowing red.
Not sure about
So,
next year at
the end of the
Celtic,
day,
but we are playing
we've
game
ended
again.
up with this. This is a piece of bloom. This is iron condensed down. There's little bits of charcoal still in here. Now tomorrow morning we're gonna fire up the forge. We're gonna see if we can't squish this down into a billet or an ingot of solid iron. For now, thanks for sticking around. Check you next time.